kicking off episode 52. A little gratitude, day 14. This one was easy today. So, went to the gym for the 9 a.m. class today. One of my favorite things, little Saturday partner workout. So Kassandra and I partnered up, and the workout was 4 time with a partner, 400-meter run together. Then you got to complete 24 muscle ups, and you each get one set to get to a total of 24 reps. And if you don't, you got to run a penalty lap of 200 meters. So then it was 400-meter run. Then it was the same thing at 21, and then it was 400-meter run, and then 18 muscle ups. But anyway, just Kassandra in the middle of it did a set of 9 ring muscle ups, which I don't think I've ever seen her do. She probably has, I'm sure, but she's definitely gotten better at them as of late. I was just watching her up there on the rings, being fit, flying around, watching everybody in class watch her. And it was just a cool little gratitude moment of just grateful for how well she takes care of herself and, excels in a lot of things. It's just cool to watch. I feel like as we've both gotten older, she's gotten enormously fitter, and I've just gotten whatever I am. But it's incredible to watch. Continually gets fitter. There's something super special. I don't know, other than maybe just health for yourself, giving yourself the gift of health. I don't know if there's a better gift than seeing those you love, improve their own lives through health and fitness and take care of themselves in that way. It's really spectacular. And I've been pretty fortunate, obviously in the community I'm involved with, but just really fortunate to see it impact, a handful of people in my life in such a positive way. And to have it happen in a way that's like independent of, or not dependent on me. Obviously it's, been a huge part of fitness has been a huge part of my life for a long time. But my mom, for example, I think, she gained a little bit of the fitness knowledge of CrossFit from me via osmosis, but I think she took that journey so much on her own and still does, which is super inspiring. It's just it's a reassuring thing. I remember a long time ago, I think, and I think she was joking. My mom had said something to me like I hadn't been like reaching out or touching base with her as much. And in my head, I'm like, that's because you're fit now. I don't have to worry about you anymore. You're fine. It's just a pretty spectacular thing. So grateful for that today, and just in general. So for those of you out there who have loved ones in your life, regardless of their relationship, and they're taking care of themselves, probably just owe them a little thank you, or just a little nod of appreciation, because it's one of those things after a while you can take for granted, all the things and benefits you get to have because somebody you love takes care of themselves and cares about their health and prioritizes that. And what you'll find too is as they do that, that'll transfer to you in the form of inspiration too. I thought that was really cool. And it was a fun workout. Great morning at the gym. Spent a ton of time outside today, walking and just kind of enjoying a warmer winter day, which was really nice. And then I was trying to live out, this goes back to the bummed out versus burned out concept. I know there's scenarios where you can, be physically and mentally burnt out. But I think it's, and people always talk about filling their cup. I need to fill my cup. I don't think that just means rest or vegetating. I think it's really worthwhile exercise to spend time, because sometimes I think the non-action is not necessarily filling. I know there are times where it can be, but I think we owe it to ourselves to spend some time investigating those activities that quote unquote fill our cup, but that we find really interesting and engaging. What are the rest or recovery or refilling activities that we can do? It was funny, thinking back, I was I got to have coffee today with two really wonderful friends, and we always just talk about interesting things. It's one of my favorite parts about my relationship with them, and our relationship and friendship with them. But today we were talking about, it made me think about something like, if you're somebody who enjoys a lot of activity and pressure and excitement, I was thinking about, and to me, when I explain this, to me sounds like this literally the foundation of an addiction. But I was just talking about coffee, and one of the things I like about coffee is, and just caffeine in general. Actually, coffee tastes like shit. Caffeine, you couldn't tell me otherwise, and I've already, to each their own. Though I know people who love it. So hats off to you. But you just won't convince me that that's better than an energy drink any day of the week. Maybe better for you. Maybe better for the world, environment, so on and so forth. But sorry, playa, doesn't taste better. But one of the things that's so cool about caffeine is like gives you this, in some cases, like this anxious buzz. And that anxious buzz is really fun. And there are a bunch of activities in my life that I think I get involved in. I get like excited and anxious buzz. And that's one of the reasons I like the caffeine. But then I think about it and it's like the caffeine anxious buzz, aside from, the necessity of an energy boost when needed, it's kind of a hollow thing. It goes away or wears off and you don't have much to show for it. Whereas if you can spend some time identifying those activities that give you that buzz, I think there's and like I said, not just the ones that are like work related or on the schedule related, like those activities that you find interesting and engaging and give you that little bit of a buzz, but maybe those activities are refilling for you and energizing for you in terms of like filling the cup. You owe yourself that to spend some time doing it. Bummed out versus burnt out. I just don't think, I know it's possible, but I think it happens way less when you're not doing a lot of stuff that bums you out. The burnout comes far and few between in that case. And then I was having another conversation with a friend, and he shared with me the other day, a little quote. He'd been working on some stuff, building some really cool things, working a lot with his hands lately, and building like stools and chairs and benches and a lot of woodworking, which I thought was really cool. But he said to me, if you work with your mind, you should rest with your hands. Man, I love this. And I think it's like, at this point for my career, like being thoroughly involved with the laptop class, I really, really like this. And it was just like a great reminder, one, of why I like the things I do outside of work, and two, what to think about longer term as my life and my career changes. But even today, just spend time like doing little tasks and reorganizing the garage and hanging up some organizational equipment and putting up some hangers and building some shelves and stuff like that. It's just so much value in it, and it like ate up the better part of the day. But it's late now. But I just felt so good about it. I was like so excited to do it, and like totally forgot to have dinner. Didn't forget, but just was like engrossed in the task at hand, which I thought was really interesting. I like that quote a lot. I think it's worth thinking on, and considering, depending on where you're at. If you're frustrated, bummed out, feeling burnt out, if you work with your mind, you should rest with your hands, and give it a shot and try and create some things, even if it doesn't go well off the bat. I think that's always the fear, is that doing a lot of that stuff is, the physical things are really challenging because the outcomes at first are not fancy and flashy or fun. They're pretty bad. When you make a mistake, you can't like regrow the piece of wood you're working with. You can get a new piece though. So that's where I was at today on that one. I really like that quote. I really like considering this topic of bummed out versus being burnt out. And like I said, I think it's worth, giving some investigation for yourself, especially if you're feeling burnt out a lot and like there's no way to sort of quote unquote fill the cup. What are tasks that you do that also re-energize you? More tomorrow.